Welcome back to Living 808. Time for Straight Talk with Risa and Edwina. Our last conversation was about being reasonable during Christmas. Today, we're talking about passing down traditions during this holiday season. Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you.
Tons of traditions throughout Christmas and even into New Year's. Let's talk.
So traditions are beliefs or behaviors that are passed down in families, groups, or societies, and they usually have symbolic meaning or special significance that's rooted in the past. And it's important because it tells a story about people and their families. For example, where their ancestors came from, what they did, how their cultural or religious values came to be. And this is an important thing to teach children because they learn to respect and value themselves, as well as understand what makes their family unique.
It's in the food we eat. It's in the actions that we have during Christmas and New Year's.
Yes.
It's in the music, some of the things that you do, exchanging gifts. What are some tips for passing down traditions?
Fairly simple, really. Some of it could be as simple as storytelling, sharing some of the things that have been done in the past within the family or the generations. Other things could also be done through traveling, having different experiences, and really also engaging in religious or spiritual activities as well too can also help as well too. So there's also a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
And basically when you're talking and you're teaching them these values and traditions, it really helps to help the generation to understand themselves more and also why it's important as well, too.
And some families want to start some of their own traditions. When is a good time to actually break an old tradition and not do that anymore and maybe start a new one?
Changes sometimes happens when there's changes oftentimes to the family structure within itself. For example, let's just say if there's a separation or divorce in the family, or even if family structure changes where there's new family members that are added in, such as a blended family. Other changes could also happen when a child goes off to college or things as such in nature. So at that times, then a lot of restructuring needs to be done to see what then it would look like moving forward.
Okay, I would love for you to give some examples to me and our viewers of some traditions maybe that you guys have come across that can be passed down.
Sure. So a lot of times parents, as Edwina had mentioned, tell their children what they did when they were children.
Yeah.
Sometimes in my own family, my dad read a Christmas story every year to us until we were adults. Until he got dementia, he read the story every year. Some people, each person participates in creating a family dinner. They may do things like a kanikapila, play music and sing together, those kinds of things. Or they may adopt a family that might be in need. And so those are some traditions that can be done.
Somebody has an idea, wants to establish some new traditions, break some old ones. How can they get some help in doing so?
I think that one of the things is to talk with other family members about what's important to them and what they'd like to see continue on and being passed down. Another idea is talk story with your friends about what they do in their own families and maybe bring some of that into your family. And then just lastly, if you are having some kind of stress about it or you'd like more ideas, you can always talk to a professional, and they could call our office, 375-7712, or go to www.hookollc.com.
Happy New Year, you guys.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.